Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudírayet. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Vidyantasto Yubadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nashtaprayashvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 4, Chapter 27, texts 18 and 19. Sa eva puryam madhubhuk panchaleshu swapar hridai upanitam balim grinan strijito navidad bhayam. Translation. King Pranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala, and thus was able to engage in sexual indulgence. Being completely under the control of women, he could not understand that his life was passing away and that he was reaching the point of death. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Government men, including kings, presidents, secretaries, and ministers, are in a position to utilize taxes collected from the citizens for sense gratification. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that in this Kali Yuga, government men, Rajanyas, and those connected with the governments, as well as exalted government ministers, secretaries, and presidents, will all simply collect taxes for sense gratification. The government is top-heavy, and without increasing taxes, the government cannot maintain itself. When taxes are collected, they are utilized for the sense gratification of the government officials. Such irresponsible politicians forget that there is a time when death will come to take away all their sense gratification. Some of them are convinced that after life everything is finished. This atheistic theory was conceived long ago by a philosopher called Charvaka. Charvaka recommended that man should live very opulently by either begging, borrowing, or stealing. He also maintained that one should not be afraid of death, the next life, the past life, or an impious life, because after the body is burnt to ashes, everything is finished. This is the philosophy of those who are too much materially addicted. Such philosophizing will not save one from the danger of death, nor will it save one from an abominable afterlife. Text 19. Kalyasya duhita kachit trilokim varamichate paryat kanti nabarhishman pratyanandatakashchana. My dear King Prachinabarhisha, at this time the daughter of formidable time was seeking her husband throughout the three worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. Purport. In due course of time, when the body becomes old and practically invalid, it is subject to jara, the sufferings of old age. There are four basic kinds of suffering: birth, old age, disease, and death. No scientist or philosopher has ever been able to make a solution to these four miserable conditions. The invalidity of old age, known as jara, is figuratively explained here as the daughter of time. No one likes her. She is very much anxious to accept anyone as her husband. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is inevitable for everyone. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchkalpatrubhishcha Kripasindhuveva Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Um, so we are here in this continuation of the story by Narada Muni, and he is describing here, kind of in this whole chapter, the fact that Puranjana, or King Prachinabarhi, has missed the point and is um, not seeing the bigger picture of what's going on in life, fundamentally, like ontologically, metaphysically. There is a uh, fact of death in old age, and um, it's painting the picture for all of us. It's an allegory. So it's an allegory for King Prachinabarhi in the Bhagavatam, and an allegory for all of us to read, that there is the tendency to get distracted and not see the true purpose of life. That sounds so cliche, actually. That sounds like something that we could have read out of some, modern self-help book in some sense. But the Bhagavatam is very specific about what is distraction, and is very specific about what is the goal of life. So uh, here, well, just let's back up here just for context for myself, even. The previous chapter, we were reading how Puranjana went to the forest. Lost his, he left his wife. He went and hunted animals and maybe slept with some other women, came back and then was remorseful and kind of made up with his wife. So this wife is representing the intelligence of the jiva in the material world, who's bounded by the external energy. So that jiva has attained his good intelligence again, his or her good intelligence. And uh, in this chapter, we see that basically lives the life out with that wife, um, pursuing specifically in the metaphor, it's Dharma. Dharma in this Vedic concept means yagyas and rituals and ceremonies and different prescribed behaviors which are considered pious, which elevate one in the next life to heavenly planets or, you know, kingly positions. And so King Prachinabarhi is very much addicted. This is why Narada Muni is telling this story. He's very much addicted to karma kanda, which is dharma. It's religiosity. It's just not for devotees like bhaktas, Vaishnavas. We don't consider that to be just like we don't consider any of it, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. We don't consider any of it to be our goal. It's more of just a function of life, but it's really not the fifth purushartha, right? Prema is really our goal, and the abhideya is bhakti. So he got addicted to dharma, which again, I'm just saying this is uh, for that for our culture, for modern times, it might seem like, wow, good, he got to do more dharma. In previous times, though, dharma was rampant. It was like dharma was culture, dharma was normal. So there was not as much adharma or vikarma as there is today. So dharma was definitely not seen as uh, such a praiseworthy um, goal in the face of the Bhaktas, in the face of the Bhagavatam. Um, and there are different acharyas, dharma, who propose the ethic, the we propose these different limbs. Basically, there are Dharma Shastras, there are Artha Shastras, Kama Shastras, and Moksha Shastras. The Upanishads are Moksha Shastras. So, in that context, in this context, in the story, Prachinvarhi is he's become way too addicted to Dharma. In the analogy, that Dharma is represented as his wife, intelligence, the good Dharmic intelligence, and he enjoys with her and has many kids and um, spends all his life like that. So Narada Muni is saying this is how it happened. So he exacted taxes in the 18th verse. We hear that he exacted taxes and from his city, which is representing his body, remember the five senses. So he just used his resources of the physical body, uh, his life air, his senses, his mind. He used that to enjoy with his uh, and perform dharma. But but let's bring it more into a modern context that may be more relatable to us, because some of us might still be thinking, "Hey, that sounds not bad. Seems better than what I'm doing." Um, and actually, we are doing the same thing in general. I mean, the bounded jiva is specifically, is wasting their time. They're using their entire life attached to some woman. Again, that's the metaphor, is attached to some woman indulging in sense gratification. Uh, so we are extracting our resources, our our very life, our very senses, our body, our mind, our wealth, any resources we have at our disposal, anything at our quota, right? Ishavasamidam sarvam. Um, we are all given a quota for this life. And so a quota of what? A quota of resources. Those can be subtle, those can be gross, but we're giving that quota, and that quota is what um, specifically we use in whatever pursuit that we are um, after. So whether that be Dharma, it's highly doubtful, maybe some of you all from a Dharmic culture background, maybe that's more of a pull away from bhakti for you. For most of us, though, in the postmodern Kali Yuga, it's um, you know, artha, kama. So, and not always by just means either. So this is what we spend our lives in pursuit of. And the next verse, verse 19 here, is saying that Jara, the daughter of time, old age. So time goes on, and what is the byproduct of time? It's old age, at least for the jiva in this body. Um, it is inevitable, no matter how many supplements we take, no matter how much exercise we do, no matter what technology comes out. It's it will come. It is a product of time. She is the daughter of time, which nobody wants, which is such a beautiful analogy, beautiful example, way of storytelling here. And that old age renders all of our resources that we've been given as our quota to be diminished in uh, potency, in virility, vibrancy. They no longer function as they used to. We'll see in the next few texts. Faranjana also has that same exact experience. He feels that he no longer can enjoy the way he used to. So for whatever we're doing in life, whether it be dharma, whether it be this or that, it'll grow dry and stale. So this whole analogy is really of a warning. It's what sometimes the Bhagavatam gives different things, right? What to do and what not to do. So uh this is like uh the this is a lesson in what not to do, and this is a vivid story of the fallacy that this is the life to live, specifically ignoring the higher purpose, ignoring the higher purpose. So the Bhagavatam is very specific about what is the higher purpose and what is a waste of time. Really, they're even calling, Dharma is calling Dharma a waste of time, right? Dharma projitikaita Shaparamo, Nirmatsaranam Satam. This is right in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam where um, uh, Vyasadeva is basically saying that any dharma that does not have bhakti in it is considered is considered cheating. It's kaitava. You're cheating. You're cheating yourself. You're cheating others. You're cheating God. So um, then what's the abhideya? What are we supposed to be doing with our lives? That might come as the question to people of like, okay, I'm not supposed to, in this analogy, enjoy with women and exact taxes, arta, comma. All right, but it's a metaphor for even dharma. Why am I not supposed to do that? Well, dharma's just a more or less a means to pious arta and kama. And for devotees, for bhaktas, for Vaishnavas, it's not the goal. The goal is prema. The goal is the prayojana. So the means is bhakti. Bhakti is transcendental to ordinary material dharma. That's the best way to say it. And therefore, when we uh, do bhakti, or really when we engage with bhakti is a better way to say it. We don't do bhakti. Bhakti does us in some sense. When we engage to be in the service of bhakti and bhakti to actually, uh, we're absorbed in a devotional association, devotional service, devotional consciousness. Um, that is not a waste of time. That is actually what is being prescribed here. That is that is what is being said is the ultimate goal because all of these other things is temporary. And that's the primary kicker is when Jara comes, you can't do anything else. All the things that we were doing are no longer as efficacious, are no longer as pleasurable, are no longer as um, interesting. And even if they are, they're going to end at the end of life. And we still have another chapter or two, but the whole thing kind of wraps up with the death of Paranjana, just in case you haven't read it yet. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling it for you, but it is the inevitable ending of us all, and we don't like to think about it. But what this very brief time, this very whatever resources we have, how can we engage that in the pursuit of really the goal of our hearts and the goal of the heart of our gurus and our acharyas and the Vaishnavas and devotees in the Bhagavatam. That's their goal. How can we pursue that in this life right now, today? We can start today, like right now. We're all here hearing Bhagavatam. And it adds a little bit of a pressure, a little bit of a fire. It shouldn't be our main reason. As I was saying earlier, we have this push and pull, right? We should be pulled by bhakti's attraction itself, by the attraction of Radha and Krishna, by the attraction of their devotees, by the attraction of the love that they are exchanging with their devotees. That's what should pull us. And that is the primary reason why we should engage in bhakti. If we engage in bhakti out of fear, which is the push, right? The fear that I'm going to die, I must do something that's eternal because this Dharma Artha Kama, it's not eternal. It's not satisfying me. It's over tomorrow, basically. If that's the push, we can use that. The Bhagavatam is telling us, use that. Sometimes we have to use a little push. If the pull is not strong enough, then at least utilize the push a little bit. But ultimately, this push is, I wanted to say only half the equation, but really it's not even, it's meant to be given up. Whether we grow old and die or not, that pull has to become the primary. So while we can use that push to engage with the Bhagavatam, chant the holy names, associate with devotees, in the meantime, we're making that pull stronger. We're making that pull stronger. So yeah, I guess that's all. That's all I have to say today. Um, Let us all pray for some mercy in this regard, that we can utilize our time in this life responsibly and in service to Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.